My name is Heather Hayes. I'm a physical therapist at the University of Utah ALS Multidisciplinary Clinic. I'm here to talk to you today about energy conservation. This is a term that is often unusual to patients with this disease, and I hope by explaining to you how this disease works, you'll understand why this can be an important tool to help you guide the progression of your disease and how you can function best. Our goal is really that you are safe and living as productive a life as you can. And so these tips are meant to help guide you in this process. This concept is different than it may be for a normal use it or lose it approach. And I want to explain this by letting you know that this is a disease that does affect the muscles, but the reasons why the muscles are affected is because of motor neuron weakness. So really, this is a disease of the nervous system, or what I sometimes like to think of is the electrical system of your body. So to help explain this concept, I'm going to make a drawing here for you. And when we're thinking of the electrical system that's impaired, I'm going to take an example of a muscle. So I'm going to draw a muscle here that is now receiving neurons to it. I'm going to give this muscle 6 neurons. The nerves are the ones that drive the signal to the muscle to work. And if we think about this disease, then we have a process where we are not being impacted by the muscle itself, but we are being impacted by the nervous system. If we take, for example, a nervous system that has lost part of its capacity, and we take these out because of the disease process, I now have a muscle, instead of working at 100% electrical capacity, it's only working at 50% of its electrical capacity. You can liken this to a light bulb that has dimmed over time. It does not have that same brightness that it used to, and eventually that will become dimmer and dimmer. When we think of the nervous system, it's actually an all or none. What's left is the nervous system here. These 3 nerves that you have left remaining are going to send a signal and fire. But when they are done, and this happens sometimes if you overdo it, you will find that they no longer work. This may sometimes happen when you walk. You'll notice that you can lift your foot up 100 times, but on the 101 time, that foot no longer lifts up. It had been getting weaker, but then there was no more signal, and you may end up with a fall or a trip. You may notice the same thing if you have some hand weakness and you try to use a toothbrush, that by the time you're finished brushing your teeth, you now no longer can hold the toothbrush and those nerves have given up. So what we try to do is help you learn how to utilize these nerves in many different modes, so that's not always being taxed in the same mechanism. For example, hold your fork in a normal fashion, then adapt to a larger grip handle. For walking, walk as far as you can, and then we do suggest that you potentially rest and let those nerves recover. When we think about a recovery process and the weakness that happens, after these nerves have had a chance to recover, then you're going to find that they come back and can give you that same capacity again up to their 50%. But keep in mind, they are going to be limited in what they can give you. And this is sometimes why you experience that weakness. Now, this is not a disease necessarily of the muscle, but if you chose to just take the 50% that you have and do nothing, you will find that you are unnecessarily weak and your muscle will atrophy. So it becomes this fine balance of how much do I use these nerves to keep my muscle as active as possible without overdoing it, because the limiting factor here is the nervous system. So that is the tricky part of this when we're thinking about how much is my nervous system going to give me throughout the day. And when you go through this process, you're going to find that it may give you more in the morning when you're rested. And you may find at the evening that you need a little downtime. How I recommend that you deal with this is coming into it gradually over the day. Give yourself a little bit of energy boost and then recover, and a little bit more and recover. Oftentimes what I see is that people take a steep trajectory up and then they just crash all the way down. This can end up with more falls and potentially be more unsafe for you and frustrating. I understand that this is a different way of thinking and that this can be difficult to wrap your head around. How can I get through my day of everything that I need to do? If we find that there's ways that you can save some energy, What are those things that are the most taxing for you, such as standing at the kitchen sink to do the dishes, um, standing to transition laundry? Are there ways that I can sit down to save some energy? Can I sit down to put on my socks and shoes and my pants? Can I sit down in the shower? Can I sit down to shave? Can I put my elbows on the table when I'm eating? Can I put my elbows on the table to help blow dry my hair? These are the sort of things early on that can let you still get through your day and be as independent as possible. But this is something I want you to play with. It becomes this idea of I can walk for a mile, but then I find one day I'm only at 0.9 miles. And that's okay. We're not going to have this huge decline from going 1 mile one day to no miles the next day. It is not that fast. But these small little incremental declines may tell you that I still want to get that mile in. So what you may want to do is go for 0.5 miles, take a long recovery, and then you'll get another 0.5 miles in. Because your body only wanted to do 0.9 at once. You can still gain that mile, but you have to modify how you may choose to interact with that distance. This is a difficult concept, and people have to make their own choice on how they choose to interact with this. We would not suggest that if you overdo it, let's say that one morning you have to get up and you got dressed and you had to cook breakfast and you went to work and then you had to go to your kid's soccer game. But at the kids' soccer game, you felt unsafe and you almost fell down. You may find that that was too much that day. And the next day you didn't quite feel as good in the morning. You just needed more time to recover, and you may find that you're back in 2 days. So when you think about this disease, what could I have done throughout that day so that I can still feel safe going to the kids' soccer game, or prioritize what may be most important? If I could not take a shower that day, I may have more energy to go to my child's basketball game at night or soccer game. So I want you to kind of juggle how you maneuver throughout your day. Keep in mind, if you sit down and do nothing at this stage, we are going to become unnecessarily weak. The muscles will become weaker than they should. So I need you to move at your capacity. When we recommend things like a walker, that's because it reduces your overall effort and your overall energy. It does not mean this is a 24/7 adaptation. It means that you may need to use that a little bit in the morning or a little bit at night to help you maintain that energy that you want. These are tools that can help guide you along the way. And as you consider this disease and you say that I am somebody who has to exercise, that is fine. Just keep in mind that what is it that you may not be able to do later. And I know how good exercise is for your mood and your energy. Maybe we can adapt the way that you exercise. Maybe we can adjust what type of exercise you do. These are the sort of conversations that you can have with your physical therapist or occupational therapist in the clinic. And we can come up with a way that can be meaningful to you to allow you to keep doing the things that you want to do. Thank you for your time, and I'm more than happy to discuss this again with you at your next appointments.